7 practices, so it's I think we're progressing. We do need to play other people. I've talked to a lot of coaches around the country that I know, and you're getting close to playing 80 minutes against somebody else. So we're still at 40 because we had about a 10-day window from our last one. So our guys are hungry to play somebody else. They're tired of playing against each other, and I get that because it does become long. So I just want to see where we are. I want to be able to grade regardless of this opponent's better or worse. We don't really know that. It's more about us and the things that we didn't like in game 1. Are we better in game 2? So basically in a 10-day window is there progression on how we value the ball, our execution on offense, which we knew we were behind on the 18th. So is our execution better on offense of making our reads that we need to read when somebody throws different defensive schemes against us, like how you guard pick and roll or how you guard off ball, how our guys react to that stuff. And then on the defensive side, we were pretty good for that time of year. I liked what we did defensively against a team that could drive us and do a lot of things. Now, can we build upon that and be better than what we were on the 18th? So I think that's probably what we're looking at. It's not any different than what we went into the first game with scouts and all that. It's really going to be about us.
What were those first things in the first exhibition that you said, okay, we have to work on this because we're a little bit behind?
The biggest thing I thought we were behind is offensive execution, which we knew that. We're putting a lot of stuff in and of just how we like doing things. So we knew we'd be a little bit behind there. And we'd had some guys out and that kind of stuff, getting back and had missed some practices. And so now we're about 28 in. We're end of October. Guys have had this stuff on their iPads. They've had a chance to really study it and practice it now. So now we got to get to the point where our execution's better. I thought we were really one-sided offensively. We didn't get ball reversals and we didn't get enough passes. We were still – on the 18th, we were everybody wanted to check to see how much air was in it. We were just bounce, 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 bounce. And so from the 18th to now offensively, it's been more about our execution and can we pass it? Can we get the ball going side to side? Can we get it going in, out? And so I think that's the biggest thing offensive. I thought we took good shots. We got to the free throw line 38, 39 times, so I like that. So I thought that was the biggest thing offensively. And then defensively, more the verbal stuff. We were quiet in game 1, and that happens to a new team. You're more about self, and we got to get more selfless, and you do that by talking. So I hope our talk is better, and I hope how we react to keeping the ball out of the middle is better than what it was in game 1.
You wanted to treat that first exhibition game as much as humanly possible, like a regular season game. Is it the same exact approach this time around? Absolutely,
yeah, because we've only got 2. When you've got so many guys that haven't played in Lawler, a lot of our practices have been in Lawler. We've tried to get in Lawler as much as possible and get them as much experience. So this will be 2 dry runs with at least fans and scoreboards and officials and playing somebody else to where Utah, hopefully it feels like it's game 3 and not game 1. Although the atmosphere is going to be a lot different, I do think the 2 exhibition games we're trying to approach it as game-like as possible.
Do you expect having all your players ready to go for this one?
Yeah, not sure. Still making a decision on EP, but Robbie's back. So Robbie will be back, and we'll just see about EP. But Robbie's definitely back.
Is that an injury thing, or
no? Just to be determined.
Do you feel like you're a week away from the regular season opener?
Well, we've been you start looking at it, and when we were going into the game of the 18th, it was like, okay, we still got 3 weeks. Now we wake up tomorrow and we're 1 week from a tip. And once we tip, and that's what happens in November. You just play so many games in a short amount of time. So you pretty much from tip, you need to have the foundation of what you're going to do offense. You're not going to be perfect offense, defense, but the guys at least know how you're going to play both ways. You're not adding stuff the month of November. You're not trying to work on different things. And so you just start getting a little bit more stressed as a coach that have you show them enough, whether that's zone offense, zone defense, OBs, OB defense, man offense, man defense. You end up having a lot to cover because you truly don't know what those first 3 teams at least are going to throw at you because you don't have a lot of film on them. USC game, we're going to have 2 or 3 game tapes to watch, and they're going to have 2 or 3 game tapes to watch. But those first couple, even into game 3, it's like you just hope that you've covered enough with an inexperienced team that foundationally they're going to be okay going into those.
What gave you confidence in Niz? Because he had such a tough season last year, and he kind of expressed how much your confidence in him helped to get him ready for the
Yeah, and I've told him, and he's kind of been on the silver team, and we're going to mix teams again today just to give that a little bit of a break because I told him that, I'm not going to be able to play all 4 guards at once all the time. So, you've got to be selfless in coming off the bench right now. It doesn't mean that's going to stay that way. It's just the way the roles are going right now. But we need a senior that can come in and score off the bench, give us production. And then that first exhibition game, I think I can't remember the numbers now, 38-10 or 35-10. Our bench had a lot to do with us running away in that game. So, and he was a catalyst of it. And I've told him it's not just it's not just what you do offensively, but you're a strong physical guard. You're 4 years in college. We need you to buy into what we're doing defensively. And I just thought he did a really good job in game 1. Now it's about, can you just continue that and play this role? Because he's going to be a huge key to us moving forward. I think he's going to be a big, big key for us.
Are you pleased with where you are at this point in the season, Coach, or is there kind of a sense of urgency before that first game?
Yeah, I haven't sensed an urgency because the guys have worked. We've gotten a lot of good stuff in. We're about 28 practices in, so I like what we've covered. You just as you get closer to that opener, it's like, have you covered enough? Have you been over things enough? Have you been repetitive enough to where the guys understand exactly what you're wanting to do? And that answer always on tip-off night is always going to be no because it's your first game. That's what it is. So it's like Utah, for instance, got a lot of new guys. So we got a lot of new guys. So they're not going to have really much of a scout on us. We're not going to have much of a scout on them. It's really about who can do their own stuff the best. And you got 2 teams that have a lot of inexperience. And so, that makes for an interesting game and kind of nervousness for coaches. But that's what happens on opening night. You just don't really know what you're going to see on opening night. But I like where we're at. At the end of October, I like what the guys have done. We've had a really good month. For the most part, we're really healthy, which is always a key if you can get through the month of October. Right now, we've got good health, and hopefully we can sustain that.
In terms of the young guys that played well in the last game, going into their second college game, what do you want to see from them? Is there kind of a confidence boost now that they have played a college game?
Yeah, and that's a fine line of, we've told them that confidence, obviously, but it's why were you pretty effective? Where was your concentration? Where was your focus? You had that kind of edge to you on, I want to please the coaching staff. I want to look good. Well, you can't just have one good game and then 10 days later go off and do something else. And that's when the inexperience kicks in. And you have to be focused, and we use the word concentration all the time. It's an incredible I think it's an incredible trait that all the good ones have, and that's the ability to concentrate. Regardless of who you're playing, regardless of the atmosphere, you're trying to be as good as you possibly can in every segment of the game, and you got to be able to concentrate. So, hopefully our young guys can – but, again, it's a feeling out process. There's not a lot of new faces that can consistently understand the importance of concentration, and, it's going to be something we're going to have to watch and look throughout the year.
Zane obviously had a really nice first exhibition. What did you like about him in the recruitment process that made you want to give him a scholarship?
I liked what in recruiting him, he can really shoot it. And so he was a big that could really stretch the floor and shoot it. I mean, he's an elite shooter. He knows how to make shots, and he can make them from NBA range. So that's always – if I see a big that can stroke it, that always grabs my attention. And so he did that. And I think what he's done a really good job, and I thought what I really liked about him in the exhibition game, the first one was it was much more than just his ability to shoot. He led us in rebounding. He had 13, 14 rebounds. He rebounded out of his area. He ran the court. He really tried defensively to do the things we're asking him to do. And so that's development. That's where we want to see him go. Don't just be a pick and pop shooter. Be somebody that we can trust moving forward, that you're going to guard the way we want you to guard, and you're going to compete to be one of our better rebounders, because rebounding, at least early in the season here, it's still a concern. We're very young up front. Warren didn't get a play this year, so it's that's a question mark that we have that we're going to have to really watch. And so he can his minutes could go up if he can prove he can be a consistent rebounder.
Would you say that is the bigger question mark? Is how are you guys going to defend and rebound in the front court rather than how are you guys going to score? It just seems like they're more. You have more experience with the backcourt in the scoring.
We do, and if you look at again, just we're not going off a very big. We don't have a lot of games to go on. It's really just one game, and the rest of the stuff's been practiced. But even in game one, where I thought they did a good job early of defending us, our guys figured it out, and then we went on big runs, and we didn't shoot well at all the first half, but we really shot it well in the second half. And then if you look at the numbers, we were right around 39% from three. We were over 50% with our twos, which are all numbers we want to hit. And so they figured it out. But defensively, I always think that's going to be a key with an inexperienced team. Offensively, the inexperience is, can you get it side to side? Can you understand 5 passes versus 2 passes? You're going to probably get a better shot more times than not. Can you establish transition, which I didn't think we did a great job in game one offensively with our transition until late. But I thought defensively transition, we were the guys concentrated on. It's been a big emphasis. So can we just grow and mature as a defensive team? That's really going to – which is hard because when you're young and you're inexperienced, you think about points. You think about shots. You think about – and that's the wrong way to approach it. Our young guys are going to get more minutes if they prove they can guard the way we want them to guard.
Coach, against a smaller opponent like this, is it a situation where you'd like to get a bunch of different looks, bunch of different lineups, shuffle some guys, or is that something to worry about later?
Yeah, we started, and we'll probably obviously we got one more practice, but I could see us starting the same way, which was big. Might mix up our pick and roll coverage. We started in game one with doing some hedging and kind of things we've been working on in practice, and that's hard on bigs when they're basically guarding a guard. So we went to switching a lot in that first game, and I thought it gave problems to the opponent. So we might change that for them, but it's going to be things that we do and that we're trying to work on and get better. We're not going to change it with our opponent. It's our schemes may change, but it's stuff we've worked on, and so I don't see us doing anything different in game two than we did game one, obviously, other than for sure Robbie's going to be in the mix, and so we'll get a little bit different combinations in there to look at.
When you did get the job and you were looking at Niz, and did you go back and look at his Bryant film? Because he didn't play a lot last year, and when he did, it looked like the confidence was low. I guess, how did you evaluate her?
No, I think more than anything is that he was going into his 4th year, so he was a senior, and he was playing on a team that had a ton of experience, obviously, and a ton of age, and a lot of really good seniors and big guards. I think I said it earlier when I got hired. I saw the Martin twins in the gym in the sessions this summer. I've seen them on TV, but to see them in person, those are big guards, and they can play about every position of guard. So, I think Niz was just one of those guys who was kind of on the outside looking in, and then when the year didn't start off where he was making all of his shots, you end up getting pushed even further down. So I liked his demeanor all summer. He works. He's Jazz's roommate, so he and Jazz have tremendous work ethics. They get in the gym. They work on their game. I see an individual I think can make shots, but like I said earlier, being a 4-year guy, I think you should be able to defend at a high level, and that's where he's really going to help us if he understands good shot, bad shot, because when he takes good shots, he makes them. Like everybody else takes bad shots, he doesn't. And can he help us defensively? If he does those things, he's going to get a lot of minutes.
With what Jalen was able to show last time out for this year and your success you want to have, how big will he be a part of that?
I think he's huge because he's very versatile. He can play. We don't do a lot of numbering, but if you do number, he can play the 1, the 2, and the 3 for us. So he's somebody. He's got big-time basketball IQ, extremely athletic. He would be the first to tell you offensively. I don't know if he really got in the groove in game one, but he ends up with 21, 22 points, and that's how talented he is. I think he's a big talent for us, and he could be a lockdown defender as well. So, which is always good because I think defense starts with how the ball hits your defense, and that's always guard play. So if our guard play defense can do a good job, I think it's going to help our bigs who have a lot of inexperience. Most of our inexperience is in the front court. So we've got to make sure we're really solid at the front court of the defense, and Jalen can do that. He can guard multiple positions, not just offensively play multiple positions.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Niz and John Carlos. New look, guys. Questions for the players?
Niz, how much did you welcome just a new coach, fresh slate, a new opportunity to kind of prove yourself in Nevada?
I didn't hear you. Can you say
How much did you just look forward to the opportunity of a fresh slate with the new coach at Nevada, just based on how your season went last year?
I looked forward to it a lot, just to go out there and show everybody what I can do and what I'm capable of doing. And the coaching staff and my teammates did a great job of always giving me confidence and telling me, believing in me. So.
What were some of those first talks with Coach Alford when he said that he believed in you and thought you could do really good things here?
He basically just told me that to trust myself because he believes in me, but I have to believe in myself and that my teammates believe in me. And he just told me that the roles are going to change. So what my role was last year is last year, and this year's a whole different year. So to just focus on being the best player that I can be this year for my team and for myself.
You obviously have proven yourself at the Division I level. How much did your confidence take a hit last year? What were some of the low points going through that season?
Honestly, I'm not going to say my confidence took a hit because I always knew I was good at basketball. I always knew what I was capable of. What I've been capable of doing. I felt like God's always blessed me with a skill, so I never really lost confidence. It was more so of just feeling like I'm not able to go out there and do more or just help my team more. Like, it was tough last year. I had to find different ways to be a great teammate, find different ways to help the team besides just scoring. So it was really a learning experience for me, and I took that as an opportunity. I could have gotten in my head, pouted, but I decided, let me just focus in and just do what's best for the team. And sometimes I might need to sacrifice a little bit, but for our ultimate goal, it's not really an issue.
And then starting the exhibition season like you did, how helpful was that to kind of show that it was a fresh slate and you can get back to that player that you were at Bryant?
It definitely felt good. It felt good to go out there and play a little bit and see some go in, and to hear my teammates and see the smiles on the bench was really good for me too.
Last chance for an exhibition before the big one against Utah. Personally, what do you want to get out of this last exhibition game? Oh, for both of you, sorry.
Yeah, that's you, bro.
I feel like the first game, we wanted to get our jitters out. I feel like we didn't really show what we could really do, especially in the beginning. We were it was down 8-0, and we really kind of bounced back with that. But definitely just feeling comfortable, getting that game environment again and getting ready for Utah.
Definitely in the second exhibition, just to continue to play together, build team camaraderie, go out there and just. You can do a lot of things in practice, but during the game is when you really go out there and you really get to show certain different things. So just being out there with the team and just building our team chemistry and learning each other's quirks and things like that.
What's just the focus been on after that first exhibition that you guys have been trying to work on?
The biggest focus and emphasis is pretty much the same throughout the summer, continuing to play together, continuing to move the ball, continuing to take good shots, and defensively we've been stressing that a lot as well, team defense and having basically your teammates back and your brothers back out there. So it's not just one-on-one, it's 5-on-1 basically with help defense. So those are some of the emphases we've been trying to stress.
Coach mentioned, for either one of you, Coach mentioned that, ideally he wouldn't have wanted maybe a 10-day gap, 11-day gap between the games. He called it 80 minutes. He wants to get 80 minutes of you guys. Is that something you felt too, that it's about time you kind of have a second opponent coming up?
I'll say it again.
Coach was a little bit concerned that there was a 10-day, 11-day gap between the games. He would have liked to have played two, he said, by now. So I was wondering if you guys were concerned at all that the first exhibition was on the 18th and it's like an 11-day gap between opponents.
We've just been preparing every day. We've definitely learned a lot from the first exhibition, and what I personally learned, I think we all collectively learned as well, is that we need to come out strong from the start. Like in practice, we've been doing well. You know, we've been making lots of shots, rebounding. We had to emphasize on help defense on the short corner. Some of the me and myself, you know, we were just late for it because trying to focus them towards the baseline, and we just trying to like just learn from that. But we're not really much concerned.
John Coles, what were your thoughts on Zane stepping in and being so productive in his first college game?
Oh, I loved it. You know, he's a young man, and he already got like 15 rebounds, 10 points, double-double. I mean, I'm happy for him. Being a big man that could shoot is definitely a threat for the opponent team, you know, because the big men, you know, they have to step out, and that creates more openings for other players like Jazz and other people. So I was very proud of him. He was struggling a little bit in practice with rebound, but he really completely showed out in the game. So definitely a lot of confidence in him.
There's definitely more experience in the backcourt on this team than the front court. What do you feel like the front court needs to give this roster for you guys to hit your ceiling?
Just pose a threat, like just because anybody could score on the team in my perspective, like so like if for example like Zane, like he's a threat, so like they can't really stunt and they can't really help as much on like Jazz if he was coming in, so that gives opportunity for Jazz or for Zane. So like back when I was playing AAU, where everybody could score, so pretty much at one point people either had to double team us or play zone, so like really just doing your own part and just kind of focus on what you could do and do what you can.
Does it feel like a week before the season opener? I mean, do you feel like you're getting that close to the start of this thing?
We're definitely ready. We're ready for the season opener. We're ready to go out there and play. I feel like everybody 1 through 15, like all the guys, everybody's been really good at just staying connected and being together. You know, so we're ready. We feel like we're ready.
Very excited.
You obviously have a new haircut as well. Was that like a fresh beginnings kind of thing, or what was behind that?
I'm gonna be honest. So, Coach Alford told me my hair looked crazy, and my mom's been telling me for years, and they teamed up against me. They both teamed up against me, and when Mom says goes, doesn't matter how old you are. So, she said it had to go, so I cut it off.
Coach Alford also kind of just mentioned that you're living with Jazz Johnson and, you know, the work ethic that both of you guys have put into this season. Can you just talk about, like, living with him and, you know, waking up and coming to practice and all that stuff?
So, Jazz is my brother for life, and living with him is great, and we really push each other, and he's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen, and he pushes me to be better because it's very hard to live with somebody who gets up and goes to the gym, and you're not going to go to the gym. So, you know, I'm hearing him, he's out the door, I'm like, where are you, bro? He says, I'm in the gym working out. It's like, well, now I got to go up and get a workout in too, and, you know, sometimes it's almost we're working too hard, but, you know, being with him has really been great, learning from him and just working with him every day is great. You know, he brings a great energy all the time. He's committed to the game. He works out all the time. He's working hard. So definitely being with him, I've learned a lot, and it's definitely helped me become a better player.
Your brother's playing for an undefeated FBS team, you know, top 15 in the country. I mean, how cool has it been to watch him have that success? How often have you guys talked over the last couple of months?
So it's actually difficult to try to talk a lot with conflicting schedules, but I'm so proud of him, honestly. When I think about everything that he's been through to even get there, you know, there's a lot of things. Taking the JUCO route isn't always the easiest, but seeing him at Baylor every day it makes me smile. It really does. It feels really good.
More questions? Thanks, guys.